As the United States grapples with its treatment of Black Americans, monuments dedicated to Confederate leaders and soldiers are falling. None, however, are quite like the carvings of Jefferson Davis, Robert E. Lee, and Stonewall Jackson on Georgia's Stone Mountain, the world's largest monument to white supremacy.
Stone Mountain, Georgia, the largest single work of sculptural art in the world, has just been completed.
To be clear, symbols of the Confederacy, any iconography connects themselves to white supremacy. That is the truth, and that's all these symbols mean.
A tribute to the Confederacy.
The Confederacy was founded to continue the enslavement of African Americans.
Featuring General Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, and General Stonewall Jackson.
This trio was unapologetically enthusiastic about maintaining the institution of slavery. And on November 25th, 1915, over a dozen men gathered at the top of Stone Mountain.
That night, the men who lynched Leo Frank, a Jewish man wrongly convicted of killing a teenager, burned a cross atop Stone Mountain, signaling the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan.
It was Klan property.
Stone Mountain had been a gathering place for the Klan. The two main organizations that have to do with these Confederate monuments were not the Klan, was the Daughters of the Confederacy and the Sons of the Confederate Veterans. Those were the front for the erection of these monuments across America.
Over 400 Confederate symbols were sponsored or co-sponsored by the Daughters of the Confederacy.
These monuments across the nation were not built in the 19th century. They were built in the 20th century in response to civil rights gains. The purchase was after Brown versus Board of Education decided.
Stone Mountain was completed in 1972, 8 years after the Civil Rights Act was signed.
Whenever African Americans asserted our civil and human rights, the white supremacists reasserted white supremacy in the form of these symbols being dotted all across the United States.
In the aftermath of the recent extrajudicial killings of Black people, there's been a renewed urgency to remove these monuments across the country, including Georgia's Stone Mountain. These demands have been met with opposition.
The claim they make is that this is history. You can't erase history. Well, no monument is history. A monument is merely a political statement. Once we move on away from the politics of the past, those remnants of the politics of the past should be placed in a museum somewhere. Perhaps they need to be a massive graveyard of Confederate monuments.
All we're asking for is that a true and full history be taught.
They are determined to tear down every statue, symbol, and memory of our national heritage. That is why I am deploying federal law enforcement to protect our monuments, arrest the rioters, and prosecute offenders to the fullest extent of the law.
Why proactively go out and protect monuments in this way? It's to hold on to the notion that white supremacy reigns. They do not want to let go of that narrative.
America has endorsed white supremacy, has endorsed the Confederacy. And I mean, what country would do that?
The fact that people want to tie their heritage to white supremacy is baffling to me.
It is, unfortunately, it's a heritage of hate, it's a heritage of bigotry, it's a heritage of discrimination.
Why don't you go down and paint it on the city building?
Wait.
Why's it gotta be a statue?
So I do understand that other races do not understand how we feel about this statue, right? This is the equivalent to having Hitler's statue in a Jewish community.
As a Black person, I'm not insulted by these monuments. I'm really terrified by these monuments.
Because while you hold these signs and while you gather for a monument, there are people that are treated like animals every single day.
Stone Mountain's Confederate monument is protected under a 2001 Georgia law, so any changes would require a repeal of that section of the Georgia State Code. Until that law changes, protesters will continue to demand the world's largest monument to white supremacy come down.